The Longbox Crusade presents
Action Film Face-Off.
This episode, it's 1998 versus 1989.
Two martial arts films enter.
One martial arts master leaves.
Two men enter, one man leaves. Two men enter, one man leaves. Two men enter, one man leaves. Two men enter, one man leaves.
But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Now, if you know what you're worth, then go out and get what you're worth. But you got to be willing to take the hits.
Welcome, everybody, to Action Film Face-Off. This is the show where two random years are selected. My brother brings an action film from one of those random years, kind of, while I bring an action film from the other random year, kind of. I'll explain these kind ofs in just a minute. Then those two films do battle using a variety of criteria and a champion's crown by the end of the episode. I am Jared Albert, the Death Probe. My co-host is my brother Jason, the Weasel Skull. We're military combat vets, and we take our action seriously, but not really. Not too seriously. We're here to have fun. This is the month of March. So it is martial arts madness. We did not select these films. We sent the years to the martial arts master of podcasting, whom I will introduce shortly. If you haven't figured out who it is already, he's the guy who's on every mark. I'll introduce him in a minute, but that is how these were picked. And Jason, these were both blind fires for me. I thought the Contract Killer was not, but I got it confused with another movie he did called High Risk. They had the same box art on the DVD. They fooled me. Anyway, double blind fire for me. What about you, Jason?
Double blind fire for me, too. Both of these were a first watch.
All right. Now you know where we're coming from. You know it's martial arts madness. Jason will do his thing, and I'll introduce our guest who's waiting in the wings.
Yes, indeed. We're going to score each of today's films on a scale of 1 to 10 in 5 categories. Those categories are the story, the spectacle, the villain, the hero, and the best action scene. It's still not in that order, and I'm even mixing the order up on the script. I might start throwing in fake categories that we don't even have, just to keep it fresh and interesting for you all. So when you actually listen to it, you'll be like, I don't understand. This isn't like the rules that he stated at all. But that's just so we know you're paying attention and keep you hooked. It's part of the gimmick in the podcast. That's how we do. That's how we do.
That's how we grow the audience that we have.
That's right. So I do promise at the end, there will be the deduction round where we can take up to 10 points, can be subtracted from the film's total for whatever we determine are low points in the movie. I don't think we've ever taken 10 points off. Sometimes I think like 2. If we take like 2 off, that's a
you messed something up.
You really got to get a better editor if we take 2 off in the movie. But yeah, them's the rules. Back to you, Jared.
Thank you, Jason. Today we are joined by our annual sniper. The sniper has 1 point to give, 1 pressure point, I remembered for once in my life, to give in each category, so the sniper can sway the scoring by a total of 5 points. Let's meet our sniper for this episode from the Fire and Water Podcast Network. He has a myriad of podcasts, all of which are very good. It is our friend, Siskoid. Welcome back to the show, Siskoid.
Hi, guys.
And you know it's time for some Kung Fu fighting. Jason, you have a question?
I do. I just wanted to point out that Siskoid's been on a couple times with us now, and I appreciate he always brings 2 movies. And one movie is pretty easy to find. I can just Google it and it pops right up. And then the second movie, I have to put in more effort to find than Harrison Ford put in to find the Lost Ark of the Covenant in the Raiders movie. So I just appreciate that. You keep me on my toes, Siskoid.
I had to make an effort as well because it's a double blind fire for me as well.
Whoa.
You know, I suggested these movies, but I wanted I find it fun for myself, find a new movie. So it was a double blind fire. I had still a method in the choice, which we'll discuss. But this wasn't necessarily like Contract Killer in this case. The one that's easily available is an English dub. And no, I just can't. But Daily Motion had the original free online. So that's the one I watched. I know there's a difference in the sound and the music. But nevertheless, so I made an effort in both cases.
Oh, man. He keeps us on our toes, doesn't he, Jason?
He does. And that's bold. I always just kind of assumed he was like, oh, man, this is a this is a tough call for me. I've got one shot this year to bring two of my favorite movies. And he's like, yeah, man, if I got to sit there with those two jokers, I'm going to watch something I haven't seen myself.
Well, I did choose, my method was to choose two of my favorite action stars.
You did good.
That we have not yet covered.
Yes.
On these Martial Art Madness episodes. So that was my method, and they happened to have a movie. There were movies on those years, so that was perfect.
So, I mean, his method works because you can't go wrong with either of these. And speaking of which, I have the one canned question. And since Siskoid's been on multiple times, he gets the more targeted questions. Siskoid, one of the featured actors we have for this episode is Cynthia Rothrock, who I just discovered like 2 years ago. Like how her whole career got past me, I don't know. But I've been watching all her films. I've been loving them all. What are your three favorite that you've seen?
I know for sure. The first one I ever saw was Millionaire's Express, a.k.a. Shanghai Express. I think that's how they sell it. They
never have just one title, Cisco.
No, they can't. So Millionaire's Express, which is like more of an ensemble cast. It's Sammo Hung. There's a train. It's like this old West, but Chinese kind of feel. She and another character are dressed in Civil War era costumes, like she's supposed to be a Union soldier or something.
Naturally.
Of course. So that was the first time I ever saw her. And, obviously that had an effect on me. I would certainly put Yes, Madam, which was her first real role, her first movie. She's with Michelle Yeoh. It's basically Police Story, but with female characters. They were really trying to sell Michelle Yeoh as a Jackie Chan kind of person, kind of character. As for the third, let me just quickly look at posters here because they all have the same kind of titles. But I think maybe Righting Wrongs would be...
Oh, I just got that one. I haven't watched it yet.
They're all kind of in the middle, martial law, or they're all kind of middling in a way, but she's always great.
Oh, yeah. Which one did we watch? We saw Tiger Claws 3 on this on here. I think it took on Warriors. Remember that, Jason? I think Ronnie
That's right. That's right. I think those are probably the only two Cynthia Rothrock films that I've watched. That Tiger Claws 3 and this one.
Oh, there's so many, and they're great. Like when you're in like a straight to VHS kind of a mood from the 90s, you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong.
I remember seeing a lot of her teaser films and stuff back when I was watching the movies back in those days, but I never really gave them a chance, and I'm kind of regretting that now. Sorry, I cut you off, Cisco.
No, I was just going to say she's very much underrated. She's like, obviously she was a real martial arts champion, black belts and so on in international sports competitions. But eventually, right today, she's run a martial arts school, selling martial arts clothing and accessories that, she still has a career and sometimes shows up in movies still, or even produces certain movies, martial arts movies today. It's like people don't talk about her in the same way that they might others. I don't know if because she's not, a Chinese national, which perhaps in that culture, like she was a star briefly in Hong Kong. And then when she moved over here or back to the States, it was direct to video, right?
Mm-hmm. It was.
That kind of movie. So, maybe in that sense, she didn't quite have the career that others have had. But I always enjoy the heck out of her in every movie.
I'll tell you what, if she and Tom Cruise ever had a child, it would be America's first superhero. I guess.
just destroy everything. And look good doing it. Well said, Jason. All right. I think before our two films enter the Videodome arena, we are thrilled to kick off this episode with special shout-outs to our Crusaders Club members. These are the folks who've joined our crusade. They get early access to special Longbox episodes. They get to vote on show content, entered for free raffles. They get those secret late-night Wednesday recordings where they get to watch us record live. All that stuff is available to Crusaders Club members, so we're going to thank those folks who have been supporting us over at patreon.com.
Alan W. Wright.
And Helica Wolf. Ow!
Auburn Elvis.
Bill Beer.
Billy D.
Bradley Dello.
Braxton Underwood.
Carrie.
Clinton Robison.
Captain Entropy.
Clark Westfield.
Comic Foil.
Dave the Battle Wagon Collins.
Battle Wagon.
Eric Hodges,
Eric Porter,
Ezra Gallo,
Gary V,
Gene Hendricks,
George Meal,
Gerald Green,
Heinz K,
Django Unfettered,
Jason Keene,
Jason Lady,
Jeff Polyer,
Jim Jarman. I hope you like Jim Jarman too.
Jim Meal,
Joe Manconan,
Joe Thomas,
John Watson,
Josh Strickland,
JT,
Candace Ward,
Captivating Kathy Bright, the MVP,
Matt and Lissy Passo,
Mark Ross,
Michael Wagner,
Miranda W,
P.D. Devons,
Rick from Jeff and Rick Present,
Ronald Easterday,
Rob Morgan,
Scott,
Sean Urbanski,
Snake Plissken,
Spidey 67,
Spreadsheet,
Steve Cronin,
Steve Martin,
Tim Price,
Tony Pennington,
and Toronto Cop. If we missed anyone on our list, we apologize. Keep in mind we record these episodes well in advance of release, so if your recent edition will add you soon, but no worries. Let us know we missed you by sending an email to contact@longboxcrusade.com, and we'll straighten it out. And if you're asking yourself, how do I become a member? How do I get access to watching Jason fight a bear? It's simple. Go to patreon.com and search for Longbox Crusade. For as little as $1 a month, you get access to the amazing world of Crusaders Club. Come and check it out.
All right, I know what the listeners are saying. They're saying, in your mouth, put a sock. It's time for Cynthia Roth Rock. Let's get back to the combat and learn a bit about the film gladiators about to battle for our pleasure.
This episode, I got the year of 1998. I sent it to Siskoid. Siskoid said, we are going to watch a movie called Contract Killer, a.k.a. Hitman. We'll be referring to it as Contract Killer. What year did the randomizer select for you, Jason?
Well, I got 1989 and put into our Videodome arena Lady Reporter, a.k.a. Blonde Fury, but we'll call it Lady Reporter for this episode.
We have got a fine matchup for this one, folks. It's important to point out this isn't Jared versus Jason versus Siskoid versus the world. We each had to select from our own assigned year. Well, we sent the years to Siskoid. Never, you know how it works. Anyway, I might like his movie. I might like my movie. I might like Siskoid's choice. You know what? I like Siskoid's choice. I'm just going to tell you right now. I like them both. They were a lot of fun. This is all about us discussing some beloved action films and coming to a consensus on which one is this episode's champion. Quick around the room of where we saw it. So Contract Killer was pretty easy. I had that one laying around on my Plex, although I did confuse it with another movie. Freaking Lady Reporter, like Jason said, you got to make a staff of raw. You got to take back one Kadan from the back side of it, and then you got to put on the map of Tenos or whatever the heck the name of the city was. My goodness. Eventually, a buddy of mine was able to get me a copy, right? He's like, I got it. I have this movie. I have it digitally. You can watch it. You know what it didn't have? Subtitles. But luckily, Plex has a feature now where if you bring it into Plex, it will bring it in.
It will generate.
Yeah, it'll generate it for you. I was like, thank God. And that is how I watched it, Jason.
Similar to you, I just did a quick search on Apple and came up with Contract Killer, a.k.a. Hitman, and rented it for like $3.99 off of Apple. No fuss, no muss. And then I began my quest to find Lady Reporter. And like you said, I got the headpiece to the Staff of Ra, took back one Kadam to honor the Hebrews God for whose film this is. Finally, and oh yeah, I found it on eBay, plunked down about $39 for this thing.
He got the nice Blu-ray though. He did. He got the nice one.
It is really nice. And you know what? And we'll get into this when we talk about it. I don't regret it, man. It's gonna have a place of pride in my collection. It's really good. The cover art was beautiful on the Blu-ray. The movie's great. I did a really good job. Yeah, so it took a little bit. Oh, and then because I moved and I forgot to update my eBay address. So I had to wait for it to like get returned back to the post office and go to my forwarded mailing address. So it came in like Monday.
To be fair, before making any selections, I asked Jared if you could find Lady Reporter, or else I wouldn't have put it on the list.
I was way too confident in my ability.
And he said, a couple days later, he said, no problem. So I thought, okay, everybody's got it.
Yeah, that was the point where my buddy was like, I got a digital copy. And I was like, score. And this was before I knew it didn't have.
Yeah. So I had to go to like some Russian website myself. Like I made the choice without, and then I had to find it.
It's tough to find. Like, it's not on Amazon. It's not on Netflix. It's not anywhere, people.
No. And as for Contract Killer, like I said, it's on Prime. It's on Tubi or something. In every case, it was the English dub, which I did not want. And then I found it on Daily Motion, just like, sometimes shoot your shot.
Yeah. I love it.
I was pretty confident too, but my confidence came from like, I know Jared's got it if I can't find it.
I was so
it's his job to find it.
I'm all over this. Don't worry about it. I was way overconfident. All right, guys. This is your spoiler warning. We're going to spoil the heck out of these movies. If you have not seen Lady Reporter or Contract Killer and you're worried about spoilers, now would be the time to pause it, because after our Q1065 dance break, spoilers are free.
Discover the legendary Q106.5 in your car, on your smart speaker, on your phone. Browse to Q1065.com. 80s, 90s. This is a radio station with a vibe. Download our app or listen online. Search at Q1065 Radio on social media. The Q is your favorite radio station. Discover Q106.5 and hear the 80s and 90s hits on the radio station with personality. Q106.5.
And we're back. I'm going to jump in with some quick info on 1998's Contract Killer.
A Japanese tycoon murdered in cold blood. The Yakuza hired to avenge his death. And one man determined to get the job done. One man, one target, one shot. Jet Li is the Contract Killer.
Your cast and crew is as follows. It stars Jet Li, Eric Sang, and Simon Yam. It's directed by Wei Tung, and its synopsis goes something like this. Freddy is thinking about getting into the contract killing business, and he has the skills for it. Before he knows it, he's under the management of fast-talking, streetwise Norman. Norman has Freddy on a mission to find the Angel of Death, the killer of a Japanese businessman. Did you hear my air quotes on that? Things get complicated when everyone thinks that Norman is the Angel of Death, and even more complicated when Freddy discovers who the Angel of Death really is. Trivia for the film. As pilfered from IMDb, according to IMDb, this is the only Hong Kong film where Jet Li dubs his own voice. So I appreciate that. I always like it when they do that. There's a scene in the film, and I warned you there were spoilers, where the main villain's grandfather has been cremated, and his grandson eats the ashes. In reality, it was just sugar, kind of like Frosted Flakes. So grandfather was great. All right.
Check his A1C after that scene.
I've been waiting all day to do that bit. All right. And the third and final. I don't think this escaped any of us. At least one of these didn't escape any of us. In the scene where they're buying clothes for Jet Li's character, Jet dresses up as some well-known movie hitmen such as Leon and Leon the Professional, which I think we all noticed. But he also dresses up as Mark in A Better Tomorrow from 1986, right, which I didn't have.
The match.
Yeah. I didn't have as good of a memory of that one, but I knew enough to go. I've seen it.
Yeah. Well, you've seen it several times because Chow Yun-Fat also does this shtick in Hard Boiled,
right,
when he plays Tequila, but that's not a contract killer.
Good point. That's why you're on. And you know who else is on? Jason.
All right. Thank you, Jared. Now I will give you fine folks the lowdown on 1989's Lady Reporter.
We prove that the counterfeit money is coming from Hong Kong. Okay, what's the next stage? We need to get a person in there and get that evidence out of there. That's not going to be easy.
I'll do anything I can to get good scoops for the newspaper. I'm in charge here, Missy.
You?
Wait and see.
Hey, this is my dad's insurance company. Why were you so rough?
You want to try my kung fu?
Of course I want to try it, you piece of shit.
Okay, Miss Know-It-All. To be a good reporter, it's important to be dirty, wicked, and slimy. Huh? And looking at you, you don't fit the bill.
It starred Cynthia Rothrock, Soo-Ho Chin, Hui Mang, and Elizabeth Lee. It was directed by Hui Mang. Synopsis goes a little something like this. Cindy is an FBI agent who was raised in Hong Kong. When the agency learns of a criminal syndicate in Hong Kong that is using a newspaper company to counterfeit U.S. dollars, the feds send Judy in. Teaming up with her childhood friend, an undercover cop, and an ambitious young reporter, Judy and her new friends take on the Hong Kong mob.
Oh, so that's what that movie was about. I didn't read fast enough on those subtitles, I'm telling you.
I mean, it's not just the subtitles, Jared. I'll
Okay, there's more. Okay.
Yeah, well, yeah, there's a backstory to all this.
I'm excited to hear it because it was hard to keep up with. Couple trivia nuggets. Not a lot of trivia. I didn't find a lot of trivia, at least on IMDb on this, but here's a few. Rothrock performed her own stunt work in the scene where she rescues the baby from the burning building. She had to do that stunt several times, and she wore high heels when she did it. So pretty impressive.
There's her and Prince. Those are the two high-heeled stunt people.
Well, I guess. So, and then her opponent in the warehouse fight was a Muay Thai champion, and his kicks were so powerful that he was bruising the stars. Rothrock was given some armor ringlets to wear under her sleeves when she was blocking his kicks, but those started bruising, her opponent. So he, in turn, had to wear some armor on his legs, and apparently the scene was quite loud.
Apparently clink-clanged.
Yeah. So there was some audio dubbing that had to happen afterwards.
Yeah.
And finally, Rothrock was hospitalized with dizziness during the filming of the movie, and the doctor diagnosed that some of the stunts she was doing in the film, and this was kind of a quote, like, jumbled her internal organs.
Welcome to Chinese medicine.
I guess so.
and Hong Kong filmmaking.
Well, probably she was like, somebody translated the diagnosis, and that's how it came out.
Jumbled my internal organs.
Oh, I got jumbled organs from doing stunts.
Menu items that don't make sense because they got translated weirdly.
Yeah.
Angry duck and yellow sauce. Like what? Like I don't. All right, sure.
Hey, I live in Canada. Everybody screws up we get bad French translation on menus and then such. It's ridiculous.
And now that we have the basics on today's contestants.
Hang on, man. My organs are jumbled.
Let's get ready to jumble.
It's on top of it tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Test your might.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Fight.
It's a street fight.
Okay, folks, we are about to get into it. But first, let's talk about Match Game. We have 2 films in 5 categories. Jason has not seen my scores. I have not seen his. We could match up to 10 times. Place your bets, folks. How often are we going to match? Just go ahead. If you had to guess, you get a live guess. What do you think?
I'm going to say it's going to be a 6.
6? I like that.
I think you had 2 different presentations of Lady Reporter, so maybe that might affect the score.
May have watched the right movie, may not have watched the right movie. I don't know. Speaking of scores, here's your barometer. Everything here is scored on a 1 to 10, and 5 is average, which means it's okay. It didn't make me feel sad. I didn't think it was great. It was just fine. We often say you catch it on a decent made-for-TV movie. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you're elite. 4, 3, 2, 1, you got things to work at, and I don't think we're going to have that problem on any of these films tonight. Let's get into round 1. Round 1 is the story. How engaging or original is the story? We will start with Contract Killer 1998 and Siskoid's thoughts.
Well, I like this whole idea of the revenge fund. So it starts with a vigilante, the killer of killers, killing this former Yakuza mob boss. It was incredibly gross as a character, terribly evil. But the guy says, well, if you kill me, I'm telling you right now, there's a revenge fund, $100 million will go to avenging my death. So you better not. The killer of killers does it anyway. So from then on, I like this whole idea of like, we're seeing, you know what? At some point at the beginning, I thought, oh, it's a little like it's John Wick, but we're seeing it from the assassin's point of view, where they're a bunch, they've all got, everybody's got a contract, and they're all going after the same person. Maybe everybody's going to go after this killer of killers who would be the John Wick character, but we're not following the right people. So I like this whole idea of this secret society of assassins and the contract and the meeting. And yeah, I enjoyed this story a lot more than I thought it might be very generic, but no, not at all. I haven't really seen this particular setup.
Man, I'm going to wholeheartedly agree with you. This delivered on story beyond what I thought it would be as well. I mean, it's just laid it out well. There it is John Wickish, and like you said, this guy is killed. They bring in all these other killers. Hey, this is how much money you get if you kill him. By the way, you can buy into extra information or information earlier than the other killers. Like there's a whole system for it. And there's a slimy guy who runs the system, but he's still kind of likable in a weird way. Like it's fantastic. And the relationship between Jet Li's character and what was that guy's name? It was Freddy. He was Freddy. And the other dude's name was
Norman, I guess.
Thank you.
Yeah. In Chinese, I mean, the version I watched, one was called Fu, not Fred, which I think is a ridiculous name for like an action hero. But like Fu, Kung Fu. So, and then he was like knock low or something. So Norman,
clearly, yeah. So I know them as Freddie and Norman. But anyway, I've gone on too long. Jason needs to weigh in. But let me just check. Yes, in agreement with Siskoid, delivered more than I would have expected.
The one thing that I was hoping in that story, I don't know, hope might be too strong of a word, but I kind of suspected, and it didn't pan out, was I thought, how cool would it be if Jet Li's character of Fred was actually the king of killers, and him living that life of poverty was like his disguise.
I considered it.
I thought that would have been cool.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's the king of killers in the three heroes. Really, everybody gets to be the king of killers in a way, either accidentally or, in a future movie or something.
Something I'm learning here is that if you watch the dubbed version, he's called King of Killers. Because I'm sorry, if you watch the subtitle, if you watch the dub version, he's called Angel of Death. Just so everybody knows.
I think it's called a Killing Angel or something. They usually call him the Killing Angel in Chinese, and then also the King of Killers. He's both. Okay. And in the Chinese version, there's like a Star Wars scroll at the beginning that explained this lore.
I had the scroll, but it didn't translate that, so I was like, well, I guess I'm going to catch up.
Yeah.
But I did. I caught it. Anyway, Jason, we interrupted.
No, but I agree with you guys. This was kind of like a little John Wick universe before John Wick. It really hooked me from the get-go. Like, who is this guy? What's his motivation? The revenge 100 million was very interesting. But we'll talk more about the characters when we get to it. But yes, I agree. One of my favorite characters was the little Weasley guy. When the main villain asked him, like, are you scared of me? He's like, yeah, I'm scared of you. I'm scared of poverty more. So I was like, he was great. Yeah. I love
and he's got like a great solution at the end to the problem of who to pay out to. So
this cat was thinking all the time. So yeah, it had a lot of interesting elements. I think to me, the characters were really what drove the film for me. The story itself was pretty serviceable, but the characters and the environment they built, very similar to what we talked about with John Wick. The story itself is pretty, there's not a lot of complexity to it, but it's the world that they put you in and the characters there within it that make it very compelling.
The only thing I'm going to tack on, and I think you guys are learning that I really like the story of this movie, and Jason just hit on it too, the characters. I'll tell you what I did not see coming was a very touching scene when Norman meets David's parents at the function and it's just like, you know what? This is who I am. This is who I've always been. See you later. Like, it was so hard for him to do that in front of his daughter, but he knew it was like, I'm not going to pretend to be what I'm not. And I was like, this is like good drama in the middle of this kung fu bullet flying movie.
I mean, Eric Sang, who I think we saw him last year. I think he was part of the Seven Fortunes.
I'm sorry, I must have been.
I mean, so he's a very comic actor. But around this time, he also did Infernal Affairs, which is an amazing series of films where he plays the villain. And I've been a fan of his since I saw those movies. And I don't even care what else he does.
He's so good in this. If you had told me going into this that I was going to like this Norman guy better than Freddy, who's freaking Jet Li, what? Anyway, I've gushed enough. Let's shift gears. Let's go back in time a little bit to 1989 and Lady Reporter and Siskoid's thoughts on the streamlined, not complicated at all storyline.
Okay, well, certainly she doesn't pose as a reporter for long enough to be called Lady Reporter, which is points off for me. That
was the world's shortest undercover assignment, I think.
And, it's an interesting premise. A counterfeiter uses the printing press. I'm sure you can't do that. It's not the same equipment at all. But, he's using, and there's but yeah, the movie is confused. And I'll tell you what happens. I had to dig a little bit for this. And it turns out that Golden Harvest, the studio, weren't satisfied with the finished product. We got to understand that actually both our movies were made by, basically stunt performers who were given a shot at directing a film. They directed very few films. And in this case, this director, this was his first one. And he only did another one a few years later. He's in the film. He's the comic relief in the film. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So, he's somebody who's both of them are used to being on screen and doing martial arts, etc. But that doesn't always translate into polished product. And in this case, Golden Harvest wasn't happy. They shelved it for a while. And apparently they just wanted to reshoot many things, change the script. And that's why, Cynthia Rothrock changes hairstyles. Sometimes within, like in the movie, 5 minutes have passed and she changed her hairstyle 3 times. And so it's because she was doing other things. She had other projects. They wanted reshoots. She wasn't available. So they kind of cobbled it together, which isn't rare for Hong Kong movies. Sometimes they'll spend 2-3 years on the same movie because cast members only become available a piece at a time. And it's amazing how some of those movies stand up. Not in this case, where you really see the confused editing. And among the changes, and that may explain the confused story. For example, the middle battle, the one that you described, Jason, with they were padded with armor, that was the finale. So that was moved into the middle.
I could see that, because I really like that fight scene.
Yeah, so they moved it to the middle to do like a bigger action set piece with more money at the end. So that's one element. She was a reporter, I think, all along in the original version. And then they added that she had to be like FBI or a CIA agent, depending on the dub. Or I think it's FBI in the one I watched. But regardless, she was part of an agency. So you've got all of that that's also mixed in that doesn't quite work from scene to scene. And so we get this result. So in terms of story, obviously there's a problem. And the problem is that this, studio manipulated the film to tell a different story from what it started telling.
Okay. That does explain things. Overall, I thought it had too many characters. I'm like, how many more characters are we going to add to this Scooby-Doo crew we got?
Well, we got to add some other villains because the past villains were defeated because that was the end of the movie.
Wow. All right, Jason, you had to write the synopsis for this movie, and you did a pretty good job. What are your thoughts on the story?
Well, it was pretty simple, really. The premise was actually good. I was interested in Cynthia Rothrock's character of Cindy because I wanted to know what is her past with this Hong Kong family, the judge and the daughter, her kind of sister. What's her story? How did she end up with the FBI? So, the seeds are good. I'm glad that Siskoid provided that context, because one of the things that maybe I should bring it up in Spectacle, but it stood out for me, like that scene with the FBI and the director's office. I'm like, the dude has basically a desk. They found a phone and plopped it in the middle of the desk. And then they had like a can of pencils, like the world's biggest grouping of number 2 pencils. I haven't seen a pencil like that since like our class took the SATs, you know. That's a lot of number 2 pencils. And then they were like, we need something else. So they got like my 8th grade globe, you know, from.
I saw that globe.
I saw the globe on the desk.
They probably got a picture of a president on the, you know.
I think they put up like 2 flags and like a CIA seal or something.
It's in the U.S. Yeah. And there's your 2 token white guys, which, you know, if you watch any number of Hong Kong films, whenever they need some white dude, they are heavily dubbed non-actors. You know, it's like whoever we can get, find a white guy, sit him down here. We'll replace the voice anyway, you know.
So basically, we just need to go to, you know, Hong Kong and sit outside the movie studio, just wait.
Yeah,
wait for my time, baby.
Yeah,
wait
like
for
that.
my time.
Be like, yeah, I was in a Rock movie. I was in a Jet Li movie. But, you know, the story was serviceable. I mean, it got us to some pretty cool action scenes. I also appreciate your context in explaining, because I thought that fight scene, I was like, are we at the end of the movie already? Because this is kind of a banger fight scene right here.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, oh no, we got more to go. I'll be interested to see what the climax looks like. So the action scenes were really good, and the story and the characters brought us along well enough. I don't think it's quite as crisp and clean as The Contract Killer that we were talking about, but you know, I enjoyed it. I understood what was going on, but man, I did have to read a lot of subtitles really fast.
Concur. Trivia question for Jason, because we're not going to put this on Siskoid. He lives in Canada. He's not expected to know this. CIA, FBI. Jason, what department investigates counterfeit money?
The Secret
Service.
Oh, even Siskoid knew. All right. The Secret Service.
Yeah.
They even guessed wrong.
Yeah.
That's common, though. A lot of people wouldn't know that. In fact, you know, I didn't even know that until I saw In the Line of Fire with Clint Eastwood. That's how I found out.
Yeah, and Sisko's point was valid as well. You're not going to be able to make counterfeit dollars out of a printing press, because dollars are actually made from cloth, not paper.
This is some business venture that Jason's been in with Pat and Dave. But anyway,
we worked at the Mint.
You know, Treetop Tommy has a lot of time up there.
All right. Let's double back and score these. Jason, looking at this story, The Contract Killer in 1998, I feel like we both liked it quite a bit. What's your tune on this one?
Oh, well above average. I landed on a 7 with that one.
Man, I was with you on that 7, and then I mentioned the poignant scene of father and daughter, and like that was so 8. I gave it an 8.
Wow.
Like, that scene and what Siskoid alluded to, like I didn't know I was going to be in for a thriller, like a whodunit, like because I kept looking at this, maybe this guy, maybe that guy, maybe this guy. It did end up being who I mainly thought it was, but it was enough to keep me guessing on my toes, that's for sure. Lady Reporter, 1 to 10 story, Jason.
I ended up with a 6 on that. I thought they had a good bones of a story. Again, driven mostly by the characters, but not quite as strong as Contract Killer. So 6 for me.
Match game number 1. Mystery Science Theater has taught me on multiple occasions, never show something better in your movie than your movie. Because I got awfully interested in watching some old episodes of He-Man about halfway through that thing.
Yeah, that boy loved him some He-Man.
He had the toy. No, this is better than an episode of He-Man, but I just wanted to make that joke. But match game, Jason, 6 and 6. Let's talk pressure point. Our boy Siskoid's got 1 bonus point to give. Which movie had a better story to you, sir?
I think it's clear that the movie that is telling the story it wants to tell is Contract Killer. So it goes to Hitman, aka Hitman.
Watch out for the Hitman. And that is it for round 1.
I guess that's my cue to pick up round 2. And in round 2, we're going to talk about the protagonists, the heroes of our 2 stories. You know, heroes and their supporting cast, their buddies, their pals, their cohorts, whatever. let's go back to Siskoid and see, what did you think about the hero from Contract Killer?
There are really three of my favorite performers. I mean, Jet Li, obviously great martial arts actor. And in this, I mean, he's a Jet Li character. He loves his mom. He helps old widows. He's comically thrifty. He gets kids stuffed animals, you know. He can't bear to kill a dad or that kind of stuff. Because I think Jet Li, what to me, you know, when Jet Li came to the States, and he's coming to the States this very year, because Lethal Weapon 4 came out this same year. And he starts playing villains. And it's like, that doesn't work for me. That never worked for me. Because ever since the beginning of his career, he started playing monk characters. That was like his shtick. So he was always like a pure character, an innocent character, and like maybe a fish out of water sometimes. But, you know, he wasn't villainous. So in the same way, like in this, he can't really, there's never a romance for Jet Li in these movies. You know, like there's a daughter there, they go skating. And that's my big complaint, that there's no skating action. Nobody gets, you know, their heads chopped off by skates at any point. So I don't know what that scene really, you know, did for me. But the pure character of Jet Li is in this context where he's an assassin and he just can't bring himself to kill anyone except in self-defense. So he's not very good at his job.
I thought that was an odd choice for him.
Yeah.
And I like it, you know, it's like because he's only doing contracts to buy his mom a house. So I like that purity and the contrast that creates, the comic contrast that it creates. He's also very good at kicking grenades and guns and, you know, right in the face of somebody. And the other ones, you know, Eric Tsang already shined his car, but he's the con man with the beautiful daughter, and he's not really running assassins, but he falls into it, you know, comically. So he's very good. And then Simon Yam was also one of my favorite Chinese actors. He's in like almost every Johnny To movie, which are my favorites. So seeing him here as pretty young, actually, from the career that I know him for, playing the detective who's trying to solve the original murder and catch all the killers. And I guess we're spoiling it.
Go ahead.
Is God's hitman as well. So he does it for no money. He takes contracts for no money, and he only kills really bad dudes. So seeing him here, and he's not like an actual martial artist. So, you know, so they dress him up so you can't see his face, which is perfect for the mystery. But these three guys will eventually get together and fight on the same side and all be the king of killers or whatever it's called. So all of these three people are some of my favorite performers. So to me, you know, scores high.
I think one of the most interesting elements you touched on was the complexity of Fred. Obviously, he has the skills to pay the bills. I mean, he's a good fighter. He's been military trained, but that conscience of his, it's like he's never going to get ahead in this lethal world. And so he's pinching pennies, which I thought was funny. You know, just the duality of that character was very interesting. And yeah, the three of them together, they did some magic on screen. And Jared mentioned some of it already, but let's turn it over to Jared and see, what did you think? You going to pile on to Siskoid's rave reviews, or?
Yeah, I'm piling on to his rave reviews. We've talked about this on multiple episodes of Action Film Face Off. When you sort of have an ensemble, like Siskoid said, we kind of have a trio here, almost a quadrio. I don't know what it is when there's four. If you include his daughter. Very pretty and likable, by the way. Just a charming actress, completely charming.
Her hair changed during the course of the film, too. I noticed going back to that comment.
But I've mentioned on Action Film Face Off before, when you have an ensemble like that, they either tend to add up or even out. This is an add up movie. Everyone is adding something to it. I had, like I said before, no idea going into this that I was going to be so invested in these characters, especially the relationship between Norman and Fred. The only complaint I have is kind of what Siskoid loves about it, and it does make the movie fun. Like, why in the world did Freddy get in this line of business? It is clearly not for him. It's clearly not for him, but he's got the skill. It's weird, but it makes it fun. So, yeah, man, good score coming.
All right. Well, let's pitch it back over to Siskoid and see, what are your thoughts on the heroes, Cynthia Rothrock et al. From Lady Reporter.
Well, yeah, there's her, and there's like an undercover cop, or also playing the role of a reporter, or whatever. Chin Siu Ho. Chin Siu Ho, yeah. He's in Fist of Legend. He's in Tai Chi Master. He's actually in a couple of Jet Li movies.
I say Fist of Legend's a Jet Li, isn't it?
Yeah, Fist of Legend, and so is Tai Chi Master, which is one of my favorite Jet Li movies. So yeah, he's a co-star of Jet Li's, and he's I don't know, he's sort of sexual harasser. So it's not like the comedy is very sex based, and I'm not sure it plays very well. I would say today, but I would say maybe never. So for me, this is all about Cynthia Rothrock. She's got partners, and they're just the comic relief guy, and etc. But it's all about her. She's the only one I care about. I think this is the cutest performance I've ever seen from her. There's like a pillow fight, and they're in the bubble bath, and that's not generally what China O'Brien does. That's not really what she does usually. So I thought that was fun. But also like her steel-tipped heels, which she can slam that thing, like her toes, into somebody's thigh, and it plants there. So she's got definitely a shtick that she uses from time to time, which is fun. Good at playing with the environment in that Jackie Chan way. Points off for driving too fast in the school zone. Mm-hmm. And of course, like in this film, they keep kind of speeding her up. Except in, like the better scenes, no, but many of the action scenes, there's a bit of a speed up.
I thought I noticed that, yeah.
Yeah, it does her a disservice. I don't like it when they do that. They probably just filmed it slower to be less dangerous, but maybe they deal with American stars differently because of laws, but I don't quite like that. And of course, she's dubbed into Chinese, that's under a real voice. So those are kind of points against her in this film. Not her fault, but that's what it is. But yeah, I wish she'd been a lady reporter from the beginning right to the end. I wish they could have kept that in because it's. I was attracted to the title, and then the title betrayed me.
Yeah, no, I feel the same. I thought, this is interesting. It's kind of a fish out of water concept where I assumed she was going to be an American reporter, maybe based in Hong Kong. And they would go at it from that angle, and they kind of set it up with the storyline with the newspaper. And I was like, okay, maybe she'll be kind of caught up in the middle of this. There'll be some intrigue. And that turned out to be, like we talked about, the world's shortest undercover investigation, because she went undercover on a Monday and was out of undercover, cover blown by Monday night. So it wasn't great. I will say, I guess I always thought of Cynthia Rothrock as a martial artist, which she obviously is. I didn't really consider her stunt ability until I saw this movie, and I was like, wow, she is doing some pretty impressive stunts through here. Now, like you said, I noticed them speeding it up a little bit, but I guess that's my big props for her was just like, wow, that is some really physical acting, which kind of caught me by surprise. Anyway, I've talked too much. I'm going to pass it to Jared and see what you think of Lady Reporter and Cynthia Rothrock.
Pretty much what you just said. I've been catching up on my Cynthia Rothrock. I've been watching a lot of her 90s stuff. In fact, we watched Tiger Claws 3 on this very show, and that's mid to late 90s, some between 95, 98, somewhere in there. And what I like about going back to these Hong Kong films, which I'm still catching up on, I've seen Yes Ma'am, and I've seen this, exactly what you're saying, Jason. Like when we see her in the 90s, she's getting older. You can see the toll that her body has taken from doing these movies in the 80s. She's giving it her all in these 80s movies. Like she is giving it her. You said she did the stunt in the high heels, right? And I just respect the heck out of that so much. So I had that same feeling I think you had, Jason, when you saw it. Like, she is channing it up here. She's getting on a Jackie Chan level of coolness, a little bit of speed up, caught a little bit of wire work here and there. Not uncommon for these films. She looked good doing it. I just love it when Cynthia Rothrock shows up in films now. I think it's that newness that I just discovered her like 2 years ago, and I discovered her in the more of her American career, and she's still great. When I say that, she doesn't do as much, but I could tell when I was watching those American films that I was like, in my mind, I was like, I know this is later in her career. So she's probably pretty beat to hell. Like, Jackie Chan beat his body over the years. Going back to watch this, like doing your homework and seeing what she gave for this, incredible. It's just great.
Yeah, well said. Well said. Well, I think we liked both the actors in both these films, but we got to put a score to it. So, Jared, I'm going to lay it out. What score are you giving the hero for Contract Killer?
I'm at another 8. Like I said, how I said the ensembles either even out or add up? These add up, and I'm giving it an 8. They really play well off each other.
Well, match game number 2, I gave it an 8 as well. I thought the three of them were just phenomenal together, especially in that final battle scene, which we'll get into, I'm sure, when we talk about spectacle. But, yep, 8 as well from me. What about for Lady Reporter? What are you giving Cynthia Rothrock?
I liked her quite a bit, although I feel like her ensemble cast kind of evens her out instead of building her up in this one, but still 7.
Yeah, no, I think I felt exactly the same for the exact same reasons. I didn't hate the ensemble cast, but it didn't have that pick-me-up factor that I felt from Contract Killer. So match game number 3. All right. Well, our scores are in the books, but we still got to figure out where Siskoid's putting that. Is it a shuriken for these or a sniper bullet? I don't know.
Pressure point.
Oh, pressure point. All right. You're going to put the pressure point on?
I'm on board with what you guys are saying. So, it's 3 versus 1. I love all 4 performers. 3 of them are in the same movie. So that's got to be Contract Killer.
All right. So let it be written. So let it be done.
That must mean it's time for round 3.
But your style is no match for mine.
Round 3 is your villain. How menacing, entertaining, how memorable is your villain is a great way to look at it. This time, Jason gets to go first in Contract Killer.
Man, the villain in Contract Killer was memorable. When you eat your dad's ashes or your granddad's ashes, then you're making a statement. And his presence in that scene, you could see the shift of all the other ragtag villains in that villainous group went from his dad to him in that scene. And that was powerful. Now, he's also physically a match for our protagonist, which to me is important as well. You either got to have a good rogues gallery or you got to be able to throw down as well. This cat had both. This cat had people that could throw down, and he had his samurai sword, and he was going to town with that thing. Yeah, when he was on screen, when he had that scene, like, are you scared of me? I'd be like, I'd answer yes. Heck yes, I'm scared of you, man. You got this sword. You just ate your dad's ashes. I'm petrified of you. That's the mark of a good villain, and expect a good score from me.
Yeah, I mean, he ate his granddad's ashes and confronted his own father, who would have been next in line. And his own father was terrified of him. So
that was his first scene. That's how we were introduced.
Yeah, it's just going. You roll with it, buddy. Go.
Munching on ashes.
They're great.
But yeah, and there was like this whole League of Assassins, and some of them were working for him, and they turn up in the final battle. In particular, I think the guy was just credited as Tall Guy.
Tall Guy.
Tall Guy's one of those token white guys, but of course with a martial arts background. But that's not enough. Like being super tall, where Jet Li is a pretty compact figure, that's not enough. He's also got to have these like laser rings that blind whenever.
I've had those. You can get those they're like little party favors. I had them from a party.
Well, apparently they are Jet Li's kryptonites.
I know. I'm gonna start using those in fights. If I get in a bar fight.
Yeah, and there's also like a female fighter who goes up again. I mean, eventually they all throw down. They switch partners and so on at the end. But he's got like a good group behind him. But he's also the trope of the bad boss, where he's going to kill his henchmen when they fail or if they get in his way. This is a common trope in action films. The what I call the bad boss, who why would you work for that person? Why would you work for the Joker? You idiot. So so he's kind of like that, but yes, very memorable.
All right, let's shift gears to the Lady Reporter. Wondering when they added that big boss character in their edits and cuts and the reshoots. But what did you think of him, Jason?
I liked him. I mean, again, memorable to me. I'll remember that scene where he's burning the $100 bills. I thought that was really cool. But the thing that really got me was how he dealt with the judge. Whereas the villain from Contract Killer we talked about was just like this almost psychotically violent person. This guy was just like, I don't know, kind of like creepy. And whatever it was he injected the judge with that affected his brain so that he reverted to having the mind of like a 13-year-old boy, that's pretty diabolical, man, and memorable. So, yeah, I don't know if he got, added in post, but this guy brought some gravitas to the villainy role, which will be reflected in my score.
Is this good?
Well, you must have been there from the beginning because he's the counterfeiter, right? It's just maybe he wasn't involved physically like he is in the finale. To me, anytime we see this, like I think the first time I ever saw it probably was in, you guys probably watched The Unit, that show, given your backgrounds. Yes, no? Oh, well. Jared's looking at me.
If it premiered after Airwolf, then I probably didn't see it.
It's about like a Delta Squad kind of unit. Anyways, there is a plot line where one of the characters is captured, and the torture or the interrogation involves hooking him on heroin. And it has like, of course. Mm-hmm. So to me, this has always been like the creepiest, grossest, most terrifying thing a villain can do, which is, pump somebody full of an addictive drug, because then there's going to be like these crazy consequences to that. Mm-hmm. You just ruin that person's life probably, But in this case, it's kind of goofy as well. So like those big syringes and they pump him full of, and it turns him into, it just makes him mad where he believes he's He-Man and he keeps watching He-Man and he thinks the villain is Skeletor. That's absurd as terms of, the result of this. Yet the moment where this happens, I agree. It's like, it's memorable. It's like, oh, this is savage. And, in Chinese cinema, they don't care, it's like, you see a kid on screen, that kid may die violently. There's no, the villains are super evil.
I was worried about that kid at the fair.
Yeah, exactly.
I was too. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas in an American film, that kid's going to be fine. They're just like a difference. But so the insanity juice is quite memorable. But then, and he's also got, his League of Assassins, the goatee assassin, the strong guy, the foreigners. So they're maybe less memorable, but they bring something to their moments as well.
I concur. Let's double back and score these. Contract Killer. Jason, I feel like you like this guy a little more than I did. What you got on it?
I gave him a 7, man. I mean, just for sheer savagery, physical prowess, and having a good rogues gallery. 7, easy for me.
I gave him a 6, and I think it's just because I didn't feel like there was enough of him. It's like we see him and then we check in on him again and then he's at the end, and he,
yeah, that's true.
I feel like because he was so big when we meet him, I kind of needed more of him through the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? So no fault of his own, but I gave him a 6 because I wanted more of him. Over to Lady Reporter. You got to love a guy who runs everything from behind a desk until he needs to drive a semi. What do you think, Jason?
Well, it's impressive that he had a semi license. I mean, that's not easy to get, man. As I talked about, he had a pretty impressive rogues gallery, which he reloaded for the final battle. But he was memorable, not necessarily in the physically menacing way, but just in his clever, diabolical way. He was kind of pudgy. He kind of had this used car salesman look about him. But, man, he was effective in getting his job done. So I matched him up with a 7. I think they were pretty evenly matched between these two films.
I agree, but I didn't go as high as you. I also gave this guy a 6. I was like, he got us through and he had a cool rogues gallery. But yeah, again, in both cases, I think we could have maybe used a little more of him, seen him a little more active. But we are all 6s and 7s, as they say. And it's pretty even. So, Siskoid, what do you think, man?
I agree with all your points. I think I'm going to go with the Contract Killer villain. I think the more about the ensemble cast is more memorable, whereas they're a little more cookie cutter in Lady Reporter.
I always like it when they have the like a woman, this part of the Rogues Gallery.
Yeah.
And she's always dressed up like, I don't know.
Like a geisha in this
geisha or
case.
something. And then she just starts whooping the tail. It always just makes me laugh. It's cool.
All right. All of our scores are in the books, and it is time for Jason to take us to round 4.
Well, now we're getting into the fun stuff because round 4 is the spectacle. And by spectacle, we mean all those things that make a film great. We're talking about the cinematography, the stunts, special effects, the score, all those things. Put them up in a blender, hit that stir button, and see what comes out. Jared, we're going to start with you this time, and let me know what you thought of the spectacle of Contract Killer.
Solid spectacle. Interestingly enough, again, when I pressed play on this initially, knowing what I know about Jet Li films, I thought this one will big in spectacle, small in story. Kind of reversed. I think it had a better story and better characters than it had spectacle, but it's not lacking in spectacle. Like you get what you want out of a Jet Li movie. Now, have I seen Jet Li movies that have more spectacle than this? Absolutely, yes, I have. But it's a different kind of movie. It's carried more by characters. I tend to pay attention more to the soundtracks and stuff. I don't remember it tremendously, which means it was serviceable. It did fine. I don't think it was bad at all. Same can be said for the next film that we'll get to. So, yeah, I think it looked good. Its action was fine. We're going to get to action scene. It did its job rather well.
All right, good and serviceable. So let's go ahead and pick it up from there.
Well, like I said earlier, the director was, mostly a performer in both these cases. But in the case of Contract Killer, it was someone who worked pretty extensively with John Woo, even from early on. So there's definitely, I think, a Woo feel to the loose camera, especially that opening scene is very John Woo in the way that the camera is mobile, following loose. Right? I don't want to say shaky, but it's not shaky cam, but it's very loose and following the action. So that feels very John Woo to me. So that certainly helped. And I think it tamps down as we move through the film, but the fact that the different heroes and villains have very different shticks really helps the action scenes, in terms of spectacle. In terms of the music, I know that the American dub or the English dub, like they replace the music with hip hop and that kind of sound. They replace the music entirely. So the one that I watched, and I did check it out, okay, yeah, I see what they did. But the normal soundtrack is more like, those synth driving beats, which is pretty normal for an action film. So like you say, it's nothing too remarkable. But in terms of action, I think we get what we pay for.
Certainly. I want to tack on real quick because it just made me remember something I wanted to say. Like you said, loose camera, not shaky cam. Between shaky cam and what you would get in a Jackie Chan or a Cynthia Rothrock in this case, like a little zoomed in on the action, like I want to see a little more zoomed. I want to see Jet Li doing stuff like this was a little
too close in,
but not bad. I know. I was like, oh, that looked kind of cool. I wish I could have seen that in a wider shot. I want to see Jet Li perform, but different enough to still be interesting. Walked an interesting line.
I agree. Like anytime I watch an martial arts film, I am counting moves. I can't help myself. I'm counting moves until they cut. And usually it's like 2 to 4 moves. Like this movie is probably 2 to 4 moves. But I love it when they like hit 8 to 12.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's when you're in your Jackie Chan, Tony Jaa kind of areas right there.
Interesting observation. I watched the dub version of Contract Killer, so I got that hip hop kind of soundtrack piece to it. So I didn't realize that we had 2 different soundtracks. That's interesting. All right, let's pop it back over. Let's talk about Lady Reporter. Jared, your thoughts on the spectacle there?
Man, top freaking notch. Okay. Are we at Who Am I levels with Jackie Chan? Not quite, but dang if we aren't close. And dang if we aren't close with a female in high heels. Like, she impresses the heck out of me. There's a lot of score involved in it, and it's the way I like it shot. I just mentioned you get to see a lot of what she's doing, a lot of what the other performers are doing. The action is fast and crisp, sometimes a little too fast, a little sped up, there. But man, it's just one of those where, the story confused the heck out of me, especially the first time I watched it. I was trying to read all the subtitles, but the action scenes, the spectacle of it held it together. Absolutely held it together.
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, it was fun spectacle.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, so entertaining. It's not my turn to talk. It's Sisko's turn to talk, please.
Well, this is a movie where Bruce Lee puts in an appearance, right? In a way, because there's just like a secondary newspaper who they're doing, like it's a tabloid, and they're faking pictures, like dripping hot sauce on their arms to take pictures of like severed limbs, but it's all fake. They don't want to get out of the office. But at some point, they have someone there, and they cut out the eyes of Bruce Lee's eyes out of a poster, and they put it on his eyelids. I think it's the judge, right?
It was the judge, yeah.
Yeah. I know that. I'm not sure where I've seen that actor before, but I know he's in Temple of Doom. Anyway, I think he's in some American films as well. But regardless, it's like they're trying to show like he's awake, and they're doing like a sort of hostage video. So Bruce Lee slides in there. The
eyes of Bruce Lee.
The eyes of Bruce Lee. Like both these films are showing their inspirations, just like the costume changes in Contract Killer. Like, we're being funny. This is supposed to be, it's Golden Harvest. Their main star was Bruce Lee and then Jackie Chan, and they brought all that comedy kung fu forward. So this is all part of that. So we get a lot of madcap stuff in addition to stunts and fights.
He absolutely was in Temple of Doom, by the way. The poison.
So he's the guy
that just drank Dr. Jones
at the beginning.
You never told me you spoke.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that wraps us up here. So let's go ahead and score these spectacles. And Jared, I'm going to pass it to you and see what you scored the spectacle for Contract Killer.
I have it at a 7. I think it would have gone 8 if it had more of the wide shot kung fu cam that I like a little better. That's a personal choice, but blah, blah, blah. I got it at 7, and it's a solid 7.
Match game number whatever we're on, because I give it a 7 as well, all for the same reasons. Especially when I see Jet Li, I want to see that kung fu magic in widescreen. That's a given. And I think you hit the nail on the head. It's a great film, mostly for the characters. The action is serviceable, but the character development to me is where this thing really was stellar. All right, let's pass it over to Lady Reporter. Are we going to have another match game here? I wonder. What are you giving it?
I don't know, man. I'm quite taken with this movie and its action and its lighting, and I got a 9. I liked watching it.
Wow.
9.
Man.
I am a homer for Cynthia Rothrock, and like I said, seeing this early stuff and seeing what she was doing, what she was sacrificing her body to do, I'm a homer for 9.
All right, not going to hate you for it. We were playing chicken. I blinked first. I stopped at an 8, but I agree with you, man. This was a lot of fun. The fight on the net when she's climbing up the front of that truck, all the stuff. The fight in the apartment, man, she was in top form in this, and really appreciate her putting it on the line. So we got an 8, got a 9. Siskoid, are you gonna jump on here and hit the pressure point a Lady Reporter? Or are you gonna go in a different direction and go Contract Killer?
Well, originally I was gonna not give it to Lady Reporter just because of the editorial mess of it, which like kind of impairs the spectacle for me, like the clarity of the action because of that. But if you take every scene, individually, whether or not it fits in the movie perfectly, I think you're right that it's like all that lighting in the final scene, and then there's a lot there to like. Yeah, I'm going to give my pressure point to Lady Reporter after all.
All right. Well, we swayed him on this one, Jared. Look at that. That's why we do it. That's why we go through the work here. All right. I'm going to pass it over to you, and I will stand by.
Okay, let's get into round 5.
Tiger uppercut.
Round 5 is best action scene, and man, do we have I believe what the Chinese call a cornucopia of action scenes. Probably not a Chinese word at all.
No, probably not.
Probably not. But we are going to have these broke down by Jason. He's going to give us the key scenes that he has selected. We'll pick our favorites. We'll score them. You guys know how it works. Jason, let's go to Contract Killer and tell me how you broke it down.
All right. Hold on a second.
You and your wrestling paper.
All right. Thank you.
Now also wrestling paper.
I was just waving a piece of paper around. There's nothing written on it.
I sent him a backup copy in case mine got lost. The Contract Killer. I have five scenes. The first is our opening, the first hit. I called that one Down in Front because those two girls he shot in the back rather callously. The second one was the circus hit, allegedly his first job. And I called that one I'll Work for Peanuts.
Nice. I like it.
The third one was when they went to save Uncle Leung. Is that Leung? And I called that one Let There Be Fight because he was using the light on his
light. Yep, I'm with you.
And we had that. It's like a triple entendre because we also had a guy dressed as a priest.
As a priest, yeah.
So Let There Be Fight. Saving number 4 was when he has to save Norman from his apartment there, and it ends in that fight on the elevator. I called that one Going Down. And the fifth one was the final battle, and I thought this one was clever, but now I understand that the nickname was different depending on the film that you watched. But I called this one, man, the King of Killers just got jacked because he got stabbed a lot with that sword.
Got jacked. You did like a playing card.
Yeah, playing card reference.
Okay.
There we go.
So is your 5?
Those are my 5.
Which one's your favorite?
I really like the final battle, but I got to say, I like the apartment scene, the one that ended in the elevator fight the best. That was tense, man. That was like a seesaw battle going back and forth, and that one had me gripped. So I'm going to go with Going Down.
All right. I liked the one where they went to save the old man. Let There Be Fight.
That was cool, too. Yeah,
I like that one the best. And Squid, which one did you like best?
I thought the elevator fight was a bit murky, so I like the 3 versus 3.
That was cool.
Everybody's changing dancing partners, and you got Simon Yam on top of a beam over there, kind of like dipping in. The broken glass and the girl, Eric Sang gets the fight, sort of. Ring versus belt. There's like a lot of little moments in that threefer, and eventually the guy falls on his sword. To me, that's the bigger set piece. That's the nicer one.
Nothing wrong with that. Let's go to the lady reporter, Jason, and how'd you break that down?
That one I had 4 big ones. I mean, we probably could have scraped out a couple more, but I started with the first one. I thought the first big action scene is when she gets busted investigating the newspaper, and we have her having to escape the building. Kind of reminded me of Tomorrow Never Dies a little bit. I called that one Stop the Presses.
Nice.
The second one was the apartment fight. Oh, I forgot. I didn't put a nickname down for this one. We'll call that one.
I'd go with a Hamlet reference. A rat.
Oh, I was going with the one after that because that one was more of a comedy.
You're right. Moment. It does end with somebody eating a rat, but you mean with the trophy? Well, all the trophies, and there's sort of flirting between her and the villain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They were popping smoke to one another, and I thought that one was cool. What should we call that one, Jared? Help me out.
My most memorable moment from that one is when that dude went face first into the glass coffee table.
You got to break the glass. It's
break glass in case of emergency.
Yeah.
Okay, break glass. Okay, break glass in case of emergency. Thank you, Jared. The third one was the warehouse raid, and I called that one. Those are some killer heels.
Yeah. You ain't lying. I would have gave up after I got that first one dug into my thigh.
Jeez.
Reminded me of that. Remember from The Tick, that character, American Made? Yes. Yeah. It's like, whew. And then the last one was the final battle. I called that one Caught in the Net.
I like it. Which one was your favorite, Jason?
I like that warehouse fight. Those were some killer heels. That was a good fight, man.
I concur. Which now we know used to be the climactic.
Used to be the climax.
Cisco, what do you think? Which was your favorite?
No, I agree because I mean there's a whole part on the roof where Cynthia Rothrock is like playing with ladders and paint and so there's like that. I wish that sequence had been extended, that had been longer. And then of course in the at the bottom you got 2 heroes and you they hurt themselves apparently like really bad. So it's real. Yeah, it's kind of real. So I think that middle fight that used to be the original climax. But at the same time, I love in the finale. She uses the stick or whatever you want to call that, the bow staff, the very flexible bow staff. I love that cool. Action.
I like too in that one because that one guy was really tall and was just outranging her on the kicks, and how she used that cramped area between the mill vans, the cargo containers there. So he couldn't use those kicks effectively. That was just smart, man. She was just doing a little Batman planning right there.
And there's something really fun about tying a girl between the cab and the of the truck, and it's like every time she gets pulled. So that's kind of fun. But I wish the geography was a little more clear on that bit, on the final, vehicular manslaughter bit. Yeah. So I'm still going to go with the middle fight, the original finale.
All right, let's drop some scores. Jason, going back to Contract Killer. I liked Saving the Old Man. You liked something else. I can't remember.
Going down the rescue. The
elevator.
In the apartment that led to the elevator. Yeah.
In the elevator shaft. That shaft is one bad mother. What did you score it? 1 to 10.
I scored it an 8. Shut your mouth.
And I scored mine a 7. I probably would score them all 7s. It was all very good. Going to Lady Reporter, Jason, we liked the original climax, the digging your heels into that guy. Killer heels. What'd you score?
I scored that one an 8 as well. I thought Contract Killer, had more tension for me, like that seesaw battle fighting over the gun and everything. Whereas with the Lady Reporter, it was more the martial arts. I thought the martial arts were just spectacular in that fight. So 8s for different reasons.
Match game number 5. So close, Siskoid, so close. Speaking of Siskoid, you have the unenviable task of picking which movie you thought had better action scenes.
I mean, it's 2 different styles of action, and one of them is more modern and clearer in a way, and I think more exciting just in terms of the camera work. But, I mean, we're talking about martial arts, and so it has to be, I think, the classic, even B movies, which I think this is part of that, tier in Hong Kong. The martial arts are still great. And you just wait for those scenes, and if those scenes pop, it's a good movie, regardless of the connective tissue. So in this case, I think I would give the point to Lady Reporter.
There you have it. We are done and dusted in all the big rounds. We just have round 6 left to go.
All right. For all you trolls out there, we're about to get negative. We're going to see if we're going to subtract anything from either of these scores. I've got to warn you all out there. Jared and I are both older gentlemen. We're kind of Gen X. We don't get offended by much. So I guess so we don't end up usually taking too many points off, but we can. Jared, are you going to take any points off of either of these movies?
No. But for the record, I almost did in Lady Reporter. It's a scene where 2 dudes are talking on a bridge and they're enjoying their McDonald's, and they keep referring to their McDonald's hamburgers. They are clearly eating sausage McMuffin with egg. Those are not hamburgers. Oh, it's all hamburgers to you, is it? That's what we are. That's what we Americans are to you, huh? Those are sausage McMuffin with egg.
Every agency is the FBI. Every burger is a McDonald's burger.
That's right.
So don't think I didn't see you calling I love it how I'm so American that I'm like, no, that's some sausage McMuffin with egg.
Liking He-Man is being insane.
So I see what's going on here, Lady Reporter. No, so I saw it. I considered it, but I was like, that's just something to laugh about. So no, answer Jason. I'm not taking anything away.
Man, I didn't even notice that was a sausage McMuffin with eggs. So they got to pass me. Good eye on you, Jared. No, I'm not going to take anything off of either of these movies either. Siskoid, just out of curiosity, is there anything that's really irking you?
Well, nothing that isn't covered in the other categories, right? So we talked about the weaknesses of both movies, and I so there's nothing to go and poke, nitpick. I don't think.
All right, I think we feel like we've scored them all fairly. We don't need to use this round to add any demerits to anything. So that's it. Just got to add it up.
That's right. That's the end of our official rounds. Now, don't worry if you haven't been keeping up with the math at home, folks. We do that for you here at Action Film Face Off. Let's take a look at match game real quick. Siskoid guessed 6. We matched 5 times. Almost got you there, buddy, but maybe not.
So even less than I said.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. My homerism for Lady Reporter, I think. I scared you a little bit, but what can I say? I like Cynthia Roth. Right. Looking at the sniper bullets or the pressure points, from Siskoid on this one. He gave 3 of his pressure points to Contract Killer and 2 to Lady Reporter. We got a tight one on this one, folks, because looking at the judges' scorecards, the winner of this episode of Action Film Face Off with a score of 76 to 74, Contract Killer.
Congratulations to Contract Killer. Now, let's head over to the randomizer and find out what the years are going to be for our next episode. My brother Jared will be pulling a film from
Choose Your Destiny.
1971. Ooh, the year of my birth. There we go.
Ooh.
Well, mine too.
And I will bring a film from
Choose Your Destiny.
2005.
Woo, the year I stopped watching movies.
Yeah, I was going to say. Jared will have seen maybe one of these films. What will those films be? Well, we'll tease them on social media for those of you who want to watch before listening. And we're thinking of you as always, Dave. Or you can tune in next episode to find out. Until then, I'm Jason Weasel Skull Albrick, and you can find me on social media at Jason Albrick on Instagram.
And you can find me, Jared Albrick, the Yard Sale Artist, a.k.a. Death Pro, at Yard Sale Artist, X, Facebook, Instagram. It's all at Yard Sale Artist. Siskoid, where can folks find you and your wonderful assortment of podcasts?
Podcasts at the fireandwaterpodcast.com. I'm on that network. And in written form at siskoid.blogspot.com.
Check it out, folks. Siskoid makes the good stuff. Be sure to check out all the shows under the Longbox Crusade umbrella by subscribing to Longbox Crusade on all your finer podcatchers and some of the sketchier ones. We're also on YouTube, or you can go directly like it's 1998 to www.longboxcrusade.com. If you'd like to send a question or a comment, you can do that by hitting us up on social media at Longbox Crusade, X, Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, YouTube. All of it's Longbox Crusade. Over on X, we have a targeted account, which is at AFFO Podcast. If you want to be a bit more targeted, you can do that too. If you want to be super targeted, leave us a voicemail. 707-532-5269. We'd love to play it on the show. 707-532-LBOX.
Pick up the phone.
Hotness. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We appreciate you listening. And until next episode, keep your head down
and your knuckles up.
The intro and outro theme to this show and all of our Action Film Face-Off shows are done by musical genius Joe November. Check out his SoundCloud at JOSEFLIN99. You will not regret it.
Yeah, I'm going to relax.
Yeah, you relax. You go on mute over there. Think about it.
No, none of that stress of having to learn the song.
Right.
For Jim Jarman.
You think about your life choices. And
man, I know, man. It's like Russian roulette. Who's going to hit this song? Now let's head over to meow, 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 meow,
meow, meow, meow,
meow, meow, meow.
She's going to blow him away.
You're supposed to let me finish it off.
And Jared, I want you to know that you are not a weirdo.
Jared, you are a weirdo.